All right. Reset the refrigerator with the restriction gone, let it catch back up pretty good. It's still pulling down. We haven't got the perfect pressures, but we're almost there. So now let's talk about the next restriction I want to talk about. Let's talk about a higher side restriction at the end of the condenser. And what we're going to do is this is where your condenser ends and goes into the yoder. I'm going to close that off. Now, this restriction, if you let it run long enough, you'll be able to figure out exactly where it is. It takes a little bit. Now, what's going to wind up happening is this is very slow. You'll almost be fooled and think it's going to stop at ambient. Now here, what's happening is we're still pumping, but now what we're doing is we're pushing all the refrigerant into the condenser. My voltage and amp draw are staying about right because we're not working real hard, we're just working. There is ample room in that condenser to hold the entire charge of the refrigerator. And you've got to understand, as the compressor pushes the gas out, there's check valves that keep it from running backward. Once that check valve is holding the pressure outward, this isn't struggling anymore, so my amp draw starts going down because it's not working as hard. We are starting to go into a vacuum. This is at ambient, but what you'll find is it takes a little longer, but this will actually start dropping to where you'll get maybe 0 or 10 PSI on the high side, and this will be in a vacuum. So if we think about it, okay, we know we're off the process tube, so this is going to be our low side pressure. But remember where we're tapped in at. We're on the dryer. So we're reading pressure from here to here. So it's going to take, and it's going to suck all this refrigerant that's in the yoder loop, and all this is getting sucked in through the cap tube into the unit to push past. So this will start dropping even more. So as this is going to a vacuum, this is going to start dropping also. Now, you might think, well, why is it taking so long? It's having to pull it all through the cap tube. So we're going to sit here a moment and we're going to find out that that restriction over there is actually going to keep pulling down until eventually all the refrigerant is going to be located between the compressor and right there. Now, with that much room, you're not making the compressor struggle, so there's no 6 blink code. Your voltage is going down, amp draw is going down, and there's my pressure still starting to drop because we're finally sucking all that refrigerant in that's in the yoder loop is coming in, it's being sucked on through, and everything's been put between here and here. And that's not going to hurt anything other than the fact we're not cooling, but as you see, this is dropping. So you have to sit here and let it run for a little while to see what's going on. Now, I will tell you that if your restriction is in the middle or upper third of the condenser, what'll happen there is the same thing that happened with the discharge line. It takes longer to get there, but your amp draw would go up, your voltage would go up, and you'd eventually get a 6 blink code. It's all about how much volume is there to hold that refrigerant. If you've got enough to stuff all the refrigerant in there and make the compressor not have to work, you're not getting a 6 blink code. But if you don't, let's say the restriction's only a part of the condenser. Once it packs it in there, it can't get it all in there, that's when you'll get your 6 blink code. So right now, looky, we're in a vacuum and we're down to about 10, very low amp draw, low voltage reading. So that is a restriction at the condenser where it meets into the yoder loop. And if I were to let it go a little longer, it would pull a little bit deeper. but now hopefully you're understanding what's happening to the refrigerant during these type of restrictions. All right, I'm going to go ahead and return the refrigerator back to normal. And it doesn't take long for it to catch up.